Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cosmic Gems, November edition. We are in Scorpio season. Here we are. Here we are. My name is Akita Akari Aurora, and today I have an astrologer with us. His name is Eli. Eli, introduce yourself to the people, and we will get started. We'll let Eli lead the path today because he is not only an astrologer, he's also a Scorpio. And since we're in Scorpio season, I think I'm going to let him lead the way. Hi, Eli.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eli. I've been studying astrology for about 20 plus years. For me, it's just a passion or a hobby. I wouldn't say it's a career or something I make money off of. I kind of did, but not really. And we're talking about the first quarter moon in Scorpio. So actually, the moon is in Aquarius. And with that, I'm going to read what it says. Now, it's 25 degrees Aquarius. It says the innovative Aquarian hate routine and boredom, and the moon in Aquarius inspires us to focus on new, unusual, and exciting things. It is a period of liaising with like-minded people and becoming a part of any charity work. During this period, your reactions become intellectually rather than emotional, and your interactions with others become more impersonal than personal. And with that being said, with the moon in Scorpio, I'm sorry, the sun in Scorpio squaring the moon in Aquarius forms a tense aspect. So that's a dichotomy in itself because you kind of want to be sociable, kind of want to be non-emotional, but Scorpio is the emotional planet. So we're going to go back into the lunation meaning of the moon itself. This lunation period promotes social gathering, futuristic networking, brainstorming and new ideas, and inviting progressive change. Under this Aquarian moon, we feel enthusiastic about setting our eyes on the future and innovating ourselves. Personal freedom becomes your top priority, and sticking to the old routine is a challenge. Now, with this, we're going to go back into the sun sign in Scorpio. Now, Scorpios tend to be private. They don't really like to um, let people impede on their personal spaces. So again, this action principle, if you are to interact with anybody during this time period, is going to be more in depth because of the Scorpio nature of the sun itself. So you're going to have gatherings with people you personally agree with and that understands you. Going back into the third paragraph of this explanation, fueled by mm, I can't pronounce that word. I'm so sorry. Aquarius moon steers you in a direction where values come before emotions. It reminds you to think about the benefits and welfares of others before you. It sparks energy that increases your activity while striving to safeguard your inner sanctuary from outside invasion. You might feel intense emotional mood swings and turn out to be distant and detached. Now, with that being said, again, the sun sign is in Scorpio. So if you don't have that chance to chill with people that relates to you on a certain level, you're gonna feel moody. You're gonna feel like you don't want to be bothered by anybody because that's just the way you feel right now because of this tense aspect. Because even though it's an action principle, it also forces tension. And with Aquarius and Scorpio being the fixed sign, you tend to be stuck in that feeling or mode of. So you might feel moody. So you might want to just be by yourself for a minute because of that feeling itself. Now this is the
Can I ask you,
temporary.
can I
Go right
ask you a
ahead.
question? With what you're saying, I'm wondering with this Scorpio energy and the tendency to be maybe a little moody, if I'm understanding you correctly, if you're not in that like-minded setting, so should we just be reminded to maybe if we're not in a like-minded setting, it's okay to just not say anything?
Yes, but what's going to happen is if you are, some Scorpios tend to hide their um emotions, but their facial expressions tend to speak what they're feeling. So like
Yes.
typically, like again, as a Scorpio myself, if I'm not in a good mood, I don't want to be around nobody. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty much water sign people in general tends to have that feeling. Like for instance, if you're Cancer, uh, for Cancer, you might be triggered by this. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius tends to work well with Cancers when it comes to the mood swings because they understand them. So if you was to have one, it might be kind of extreme if your personal space was tread upon. Now, a
Mm-hmm.
Pisces might handle it a little different. A Pisces, depending on how they're feeling in the moment, might
Yeah.
explode. So like
Right.
again, it depends on the sign itself, and like
Mm-hmm.
this transit will affect more fixed sign people than anybody. So like
Right.
if you are a Scorpio, a Taurus, a Leo, or an Aquarius, you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
affected by this transit
Right, right, right.
because
And
you know
that's good for people to know too, because as we are going through the Scorpio energy going through the current transit, again, who you are, it will impact you differently. So there might be some people that are just, in their own zone and they're quiet and they're good with that. And there might be some people that actually need to say a little something, do a little something, need to be heard, need to be said, and they might not the whole result of that might not work out too well for them, but they got to do it just because they got to be who they are, and then learn through that whole energy of, okay, well, maybe I need to, instead of voicing my opinion, just maybe retreat and just keep my opinion to myself. Or maybe for some people this is the season to feel safe to say, you know what, I'm not going to be, my opinion might not be well understood or liked, but it is time for me to actually to speak my voice and say it. So it is going to impact us differently, and our comfort levels with that choice to either retreat or to speak up.
I agree, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean I could go through the zodiac and expressions of like I'm gonna start off with the cardinal signs. The cardinal signs
Mm-hmm.
is Aries, and the opposite of Aries is Libra. So those are the two
Mm-hmm.
opposing signs of the cardinal signs. Second one is Capricorn, and the opposite sign of Capricorn is Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna go with the first two, the Aries and Aquarius. Sorry, Aries and Libra.
Well,
Libra
why
is
don't why
actually
don't we stick with the since we're in Scorpio, why don't we just stick with the fixed cross? Because I think that might kind of like impact, so that we're not taking it too far. Let's
well, it's
stick
not
with
too far because okay, so we'll just speak to the Scorpios,
yeah, let's
the
stick with the fixed
Tauruses.
cross. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's stick with the fixed sign people. We're gonna go with the first
Yeah.
one, which is Leo. If you're Leo right now, you might come off as um I wouldn't say edgy, but you might want to dominate the conversation. You might want to impede or push certain avenues on personal spheres. So be mindful of not offending people because you're not afraid to voice your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tauruses and Scorpios might want to overreact to what they feel might be a slight, but it's just you being innocently wanting to express how you feel or just getting a point across. Aquarius is the other side of it. Aquarius will want to express the dialogue as well. But at the same time, the mood swings from Aquarius might be kind of strong. So unless you are around people you can confide in, you might not want to really express how you feel because, like I said before, you're gonna come off um, distant. You're gonna come off as nonchalant, like why this person even talking to me? So like depending on who you're around, your reaction might be either expressive in the sense to us, let's talk about this, or you're gonna be like aloof. You're gonna be distant. You're gonna be like airy. You're not gonna be there, and the person is gonna feel that. So like, just put that in mind.
And that's the
Tauruses,
Aquarius, right? You said that
that's the
last one was the
Aquarius.
Aquarius,
That's
as
the
well as
Aquarius.
that's the moon. The first quarter moon is also in
Yeah.
Aquarius too. So
So
that Aquarian energy might kind of be pulling more of us towards that with the whole moon being in Aquarius right now, which we'll get into later. But I like what you're doing. So continue to go with the other, yeah, continue to go with the
yeah.
mutable and the it's fixed, mutable, and cardinal. Yeah, continue with the cardinal and the mutable cross and tell them how that's going to impact them as well.
Okay. Yeah, well, you mentioned the Aquarius moon. Like, if the hotter moon is in Aquarius, now you're going to be extra moody. So, like, depending on who you're communicating with, you're not going to be in that mood to communicate really. So, hopefully, it's a confidant, someone you trust. Um, you can get into the Tauruses and Scorpios. It being Scorpios, usually I can do that last. So, Tauruses, um, Tauruses being the fight fix sign. Like, you would want to cross a Taurus right now because depending on what you might say. Now, the moon is only 2.5 days, and we're going. It's about to exit um this cross right now, this square right now, or this quarter cycle. So again, Tauruses want to have a good time, mind you, and they are very open and expressive in how they feel. But if they feel you are offending them because they might not understand what you're saying fully, you might get attacked. So be mindful of how you address a Taurus person. So Taurus might take a slight or might feel offended because again, with the Aquarius moon energy, it might cause him to have a mood swing. And the Tauruses tend to be extreme. They tend to react quickly, and they're the fight or flight signs of the zodiac per se. So be mindful of that. Do not offend Taurus right now, because again, it might cause problems. Scorpios, again, Scorpios, unless you're a friend of a Scorpio, you're not going to really see a Scorpio out today because like if they are going through that moody state of being, they don't really want to socialize. They want to stay keep to themselves and just comprise their own mental thoughts. Because again, I mean, most Scorpios are their own counsel to a certain degree. They don't really divulge most of their inner workings or secrets. So like you might find a Scorpio right now contemplating future events, what they plan for the future, what they plan on doing for themselves and whoever's around them per se. Now we're going to go into the mutables. Mutable signs would be Pisces. Opposite of Pisces would be Virgo. And the next mutable sign would be Sagittarius. And the opposite of Sagittarius would be Gemini.
Um,
So with Virgos, again, mutable signs tend to be, um, they tend to absorb a lot of energy. So with this intense energy about right now, for the Virgos, if you're not really around people you could confide in or talk to right now, you might feel cranky and irritable. So I wouldn't advise if you're not really in that mood to communicate to be around people because you might snap on somebody, you might, offend somebody, or just tell someone but they ask particularly. So, you know,
I love it. I love it.
yeah,
That's why you gotta know your thyself, man. Know when to stay in, know when to shut up,
yeah,
know when to go home, know when to
yeah.
speak. Go ahead.
All right. Pisces, now be careful of people come telling you side stories to use you. Be
Mhm.
very mindful of sob stories because at this particular point in time, people will be coming to you, telling you their secrets, telling you how they feel, what it is, and they might use you as an absorption board, and it might cause you to misinterpret the emotion itself. So be mindful of what you take on right now. But again, it's a short-term energy. It's only 2.5 days. It's the end of it right now. By the time this podcast come out, um, you probably would hear about the effects and you'd be like, oh, that's what that was. So, like, yeah,
Mhm.
be mindful
Yeah.
of absorbing negative energy right now. Because what's going to happen is a lot of people is going to offload on you. So just be mindful of it. Sagittarius, uh, again, like, try to avoid stopping on people, but this is the time for y'all to have fun, with Aquarius, um, triggering a positive aspect to it, such in the Scorpios at all. It's a good time for you to actually just go and have yourself, have a good time. But try to avoid offending people. Try to avoid like coming off as arrogant or bombastic or just a know-it-all. Try to avoid that because Aquarians tend to bring out that know-it-all energy in um the fire and air signs, especially when it touches it in a positive light. So try to avoid coming off as arrogant and offending people. Geminis. Geminis is another know-it-all type sign. Geminis tend to absorb a lot of energy as well as information. So with that being said, try to avoid also upsetting people, you know, and the flip-flop and try to, I mean, with the fixed sign, it would help you to actually stay on a conversation, stay on one topic per se, you know, but try to keep it balanced in a sense to actually understand where you're coming from, you know.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the man might be a little more talkative right now, so don't worry about it. And the
I think
last
people have
is
a
the
lot to
cardinal,
talk about.
huh?
I think people have a lot to talk about these days.
Yeah. And the cardinal signs. The cardinal signs, did I speak about the cardinal signs already or not? Just the fixed and the
No,
mutables?
say those for last. Yeah.
Okay. The cardinal signs would be the last ones. Now
Hmm.
these would be the first and last quarter signs. That's why I put those as the last ones. Now, the first quarter would be the first cardinal, which is Aries, and the opposite of Aries is
Yeah.
Libra. So Aries, again, be careful of provoking fights or just trying to figure something out. If the person don't want to tell you what it is, they're a feeling or a secret that you probably figure you should know, don't push the issue because you might stir up things you can't finish or might like the outcome of it or might like the answer. So if you're asking or probing, trying to find various answers to groups or just French confrontations, again, you might not like the answer the question you're pushing. So if you figure it might be negative, don't push. But if you could feel you can handle it, love yourself. Believers, try to avoid being used as a sounding board or just used in general. Like Aquarius is the balancer and it touches um the I wouldn't say the balancer, but it shows group associations and you trying to be the mediator in some kind of group conflict. I mean, just be mindful of it. Just be mindful of seeming like you're more of a trader and a mediator during this time period when it comes to group associations. Because again,
Mhm.
Aquarius deals with groups of people,
So it's
a
almost like pick
friendship.
a side, pick a side.
No, sometimes it just be quiet. Don't pick a
Mm.
side.
Don't pick a
Yeah,
side. Okay, okay,
yeah, don't
okay.
pick a side because then you might
All
offend
right.
the wrong person for
Okay,
whatever
okay.
reason. So try to avoid seeming two-faced. Like
Mm.
you really on this person's side, or don't pick a side. Just be neutral if you
Stay
could.
neutral. Stay
Yeah,
neutral.
if you could be
Got it.
neutral. All right. And the last two, Capricorn and Cancer. Now, Cancers, again, Scorpios would be affected by this. So it being a cardinal sign, and Cancers tend to be one of the more violent, emotional signs. So like try
Hmm.
to avoid overreaction or taking things out of proportion. I mean, don't read too deep into the situation. you know
Okay.
Sometimes just keep it at a surface level, surface value, because if you read
Yeah.
too deep into it, it might cause problems. Because again,
Hmm.
that Scorpio sun touching your sun or moon or whatever rising, it might trigger some things in you, or you might pick up on subtle insults that the group or people in the group might be spitting at you, and because of your reactive nature, you might snap. So try to avoid um, gatherings if you can, if you feel moody, if you feel irritable, because again, Aquarian moon tends to make you more moody and more reactive. So if you feel upset, just stay home, relax, take a bath. I mean,
Hmm.
a bath, whatever. Just chill, listen to some good music.
Yeah.
Try to avoid the try to avoid people and just calm your nerves.
Yeah.
Capricorns, yeah, try to avoid shutting down because
Mm.
um yeah, what happens is Capricorns is another cardinal reactive sign to a certain degree, but they tend to
Mm-hmm.
be inert. So, like Scorpios, you might not want to socialize with, might not feel the urge to socialize with now. But if you could have that close, tight knit group you can socialize with, love yourself. You know, you
Yeah.
don't have to really um talk and emote what it is you're feeling inside because you're around people like minded who understand how you feel. You don't have to explain what it is you're feeling or you're going through because water and air signs tend to have difficulty expressing themselves. So they hang around
Mm-hmm.
people who understand how they might feel. So if you're around like minded individuals, or you could be around them, I mean, it's very soothing for you. But if you don't, you can't find them, those particular groups, just chill by yourself. So pretty much
Mm-hmm.
water and earth signs. Um, if you can't find groups of people that you could gel with, just chill by yourself. Fire and air signs, try to avoid offending people. Try to avoid trying to pry secrets out of people, out of the group, or for your own personal or fun, which is malicious benefits. Try to
Mm-hmm.
avoid confrontation, because like you're gonna be the initiators of this confrontation,
The
you know?
spark.
The
Yes.
spark, exactly. And that's my
Yeah.
little 2 cents of the zodiac signs during this
All
first
right.
quarter cycle.
Okay, cool. I love that. And each of us can, again, if you pull out your chart, most of us know our sun sign. So pull out your chart and see maybe how some of those other signs are being impacted as we go through this first quarter energy. I also wanted to, this whole show is always about the first quarter moon. We gather around the first quarter moon. So I just wanted to bring forward that information and just remind us what to do with all of this energy, as well as the aspect of the moon being in Aquarius, the first quarter moon being Aquarius from the oracle aspect. So let's tap into the first quarter moon energy from the galactic calendar. And again, this is how we can work with the energy and when we are under the first quarter moon, what we can do. And it's almost like the container, as above, so below. So we can weave and rise and shed, as I say, with these energies above us and within us. So the first quarter moon, it comes in for us to organize ourselves. How do we get organized? What do we need to organize in our lives in order to move forward and do what we need to do to achieve the things that we want to achieve, whether that's on an individual level or on a collective level, on a planetary level, right? What do we need to do to get organized, or how can we organize ourselves? It's about confronting. So looking face to face with what we need to confront, right? It's about motivating. What is motivating us? What is happening around me that is actually, hey, this is motivating me to do this, or this is motivating me to stop doing this, right? So, what is motivating you from within you as well as from what's going on outside of you? What is motivating me right now as this first quarter moon is above me? It's also an energy of assertion. So how can I assert myself? Because the first quarter moon is action time. Action time. What are we going to do next? So how can I assert myself, or what is this energy helping me to be assertive in? What is it encouraging me and cheerleading me forward to do or to be, to become? It's also about materializing what is coming into form, what is manifesting, what is materializing within me and around me. It's also about empowering. I said coming into form as well as pursuing. So, how do I empower myself? What action steps do I need to do to empower myself right now? And what is it that I need to pursue? What is the universe bringing into me or taking away from me and saying, you know what, I am giving you this, so this is what you can focus on in your pursuit, in your pursuits. What is the universe now maybe releasing from you and saying, you know what, you don't need this anymore, so that you can focus on something that's coming in, or you can refine yourself and say, hey, I need more time in order to pursue this, right? So as this first quarter moon comes in and leaves us, and I kind of feel like it's Eli, you said 2 days actually when I was looking at the different calendars, but it doesn't have to be an exact, but we were from on the galactic calendar is actually giving us like a little 4-day window. So it started almost on the 8th. Even though on some calendars, I think it started this morning or 2:55. I'm good with numbers. Sometimes they stick with me. I think it was 2:55 a.m. this morning on the 9th, right? But then it goes all the way in really into the 11th. So there was this corridor between 11:08 and 11:11, which I just loved because I was able to tap it into the numbers and all of these codes and frequencies that I've been getting. And I was like, the 11:08 to 11:11, and that's some powerful numbers there. So as we experience this energy, this moon in Aquarius above us, what can we do? What can we do to help materialize? What can we do to help empower ourselves? What can we do to help come into more form? What can we do to confront some of the stuff that we need to confront? And as Eli was saying, depending on who you are, where your sun is, you might be directed to do different things and in different ways. Some of us might be directed to, stay silent. Some of us might be directed to find our tribe, our kinfolk and have discussions with them. And some of us might be directed to just, retreat and be with ourselves and get our own internal instructions and then come out later, right? So we don't always have to be doing the same thing and in the same ways, but we can all use the energy and work with the energy in order to move forward. And what I was really receiving while you were talking, it was like in order to maintain harmony and peace, and that is also a very big theme of this cosmic energy that we're experiencing right now. How do I remain in harmony and how do I add to the harmonious collective? And how do I remain in harmony within myself as maybe outside of me is looking very chaotic? And those are two very powerful tools to really understand within yourself how to do. How do I add to the collective harmony as well as how do I stay harmonious within myself, even though there's some turbulent or challenging energy around me or within me. So I think that was very important to kind of like go through the zodiac signs and just acknowledging that we all will be experiencing this in a little different way. And there are really different things that each of us can do in order to be harmonious as well as add to more harmony for the collective, especially in this season right now. So let's read the moon in Aquarius. All right. And its messages to trust the universe, right? So I just wanted to bring forward this message right now to trust the universe, right? Let's trust the universe is, yeah, right there. To trust the universe. The first quarter moon in Aquarius, right? It's asking us all to trust. So let me just read from the book and the message. It says, it's time to release your grip on a situation. Passion is good, but too much can become manic. Sometimes we feel too much intensity around our dreams because we're scared they won't come true. But that's counterproductive. Live and let live a little. State your intention to the universe, then detach. And we were speaking about detachment earlier. Trust the universe and see what happens. The tighter your grip now, the more likely you are to lose out. This is doubly true if you've been jealous or had issues to do with sex or money. Avoid trying too hard to influence somebody else. Manifesting mix. If you feel stuck or you're making someone else feel stuck, you need to tread carefully. Sometimes stuck people behave recklessly. Manifesting mindset. When this card comes up, there's a risk that you're being too rigid in your thinking, words, or actions. Listen and loosen. Loosen up, and you'll find it easier to overcome the challenges that you are facing. So it's a big leap in trusting the universe, right? And for it to release and to loosen up. All right. It also says for us to tune into our third eye, which I thought was really nice because the third eye is all about seeing beyond the blockages and the illusions, right? So tap into your third eye. It's located the midpoint between your eyebrows right here. And in some circles, we call it the first eye, right? So I don't know, you might want to change your terminology with this. Is it your third eye or is it your first eye, right? And it allows you to see beyond life's illusions to the truth that you're an amazing being here to manifest your dreams. So clear your third eye and make sure that you can see that you are amazing. The reason why you are here is to manifest your dreams. So we can focus on that and get to that work of creating them into reality. Says to let go and allow yourself to be filled with its divine indigo light, healing you and your family line. We must do our ancestral work. We must do our shadow work. Hold this card to your third eye and call in its energies with these words. Energies of the first quarter moon in Aquarius. Thank you for showing me that it's okay to be me. And that's a beautiful, beautiful way to, I guess, crown what you were giving us with the astrology. When we know our astrology and we know how we are, how we be, that it says, it's okay for me to be me right now. It's okay for me to retreat because that's really what's going to serve me better, as well as the collective in keeping more harmony. So listen to the moon in Aquarius right now and trust the universe, as well as knowing that it's okay for you to be you. And I would say that authentic you. All right. I'll give it back to you, Eli.
I'm glad you ended off with authenticity. Like
Great.
I recently made a discovery. Um, I forget what test it is, but
Hmm.
recent discovery found that the highest vibration or frequency out there is not love.
It's
Everyone think is
authenticity.
love, but authenticity is the highest vibration.
Yes,
And
yes. I came across that as well. Yeah.
yeah, so like here it is now. People are shunned. People are ridiculed for being authentic, to being who
Yes.
they are. And me, I've 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 come to understand certain things. So a few years back, I had a friend that did some past life regressions,
Hmm.
and we're in this COVID era of DNA per se,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
the history of our ancestry is in our DNA.
Yep.
And again, I like the fact that once you know who you are, know thyself, you can
Hmm.
bring your authentic self out. And I
Yes.
think
Yep.
I think what's going on, because with the age of Aquarius coming into focus and the age of Pisces leaving, we are
Hmm.
now shedding delusions or illusions of.
Yes.
So let's just say if you believe in past lives, you were
Hmm.
a woman in a past life.
Mm-hmm.
but in this life, you are a man. The
Mm-hmm.
energy of this life is for you to shed the past life energy and step
Mm-hmm.
into your masculine energy. Now,
Yeah.
with that being said, the Ouroboros. In astrology, the Ouroboros is the dragon's head and tail. The
Mm-hmm.
dragon's head and tail is what we call in astrology the North Node and the South
Mm-hmm.
Node. So when the snake bites its tail, the dragon bites its tail. When the Ouroboros bites its tail,
Mm-hmm.
it shows how the past and the present coincide. You must
Yes.
learn from your past to step into your present nature. So let's
Mm-hmm.
just get into it. My um my my North Node is in Leo and my South Node is in Aquarius.
Mm.
So
Oh.
this quarter moon cycle touches my Ouroboros.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the Leo, with the Leo North Node, I must step into my being. I must
Mm-hmm.
avoid, I wouldn't say avoid, I must learn from my past life group activities
Mm-hmm.
and become the center of attention, the center of attraction, without becoming arrogant or overbearing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I have a square aspect, or what in astrology they call my grand cross. A grand cross is four squares. So my grand cross is the Ouroboros, or my north and south node, squaring my Chiron and my sun sign.
Mm-hmm.
So those 4 points makes up my what they call a grand cross, which is the
Mm-hmm.
most intense aspect in the zodiac. So
Can
it's
you
an
can you
action
repeat
principle,
that
yes.
again? Can you repeat that again? What makes up your Grand Cross? Can you give us that information again?
Okay, the grand cross for me is my north and south node, my
Your
north
North and
node,
South.
my north node in Leo, my south node in
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius, and my sun sign in Scorpio, and
Mm-hmm.
my um Chiron is in Taurus. Now,
Okay, so
I'm
it's your
very,
North and South nodes, your Sun and your Chiron. That makes your Grand Cross.
yes. So I'm
Okay,
gonna
that's
get in.
good for students of astrology, so that we could see our own Grand Crosses. I love that.
Okay, well, we're gonna get into that healing energy we was talking about before, we start recording. So like
Mm-hmm.
Chiron is
It's
what they
the
call the
moon.
wounded healer, you
Yep.
know? So me having Sun opposing Chiron at birth, I had a problem with my ego. And again, my Sun conjoins my Uranus. So what that means, your Sun sign is your ego, and Uranus is your super ego. So,
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, Uranus rules Aquarius. Aquarius opposes the Sun. The Sun rules Leo. So, when you have that energy in you, you have the I will and the I know energy in one. So let's just say you, for instance, your sun sign squares your Aquarius or
Mm-hmm.
your Uranus sign. So you have a natural tense aspect as well.
Mm-hmm.
So having that energy in you, that makes you the individual personified per se,
Mm-hmm.
because you have my ego and super ego merges together. So whereas
Mm-hmm.
your ego and super ego is at a dichotomy. They're not in full opposition, but they're
Okay.
not in conjunction. So there's a duality aspect going on with that
Yeah.
cross. It's a tension
Mm-hmm.
aspect. So you will always seek to be the individual, the optimal individual. And Renee, oh yes,
The cat,
yeah,
independent, the
now
lion.
the lion. Now we're gonna go back to my grand cross again. With
Mm-hmm.
me being with my son opposing the wounded healer and
Mm-hmm.
informing it. cross energy, I could channel my past life and my present life to understand the hurts of my ancestors and myself per se, the traumas
Mm-hmm.
I went through, what the family might have went through, gone through, and help me understand what it is that hurts. And to me, the best psychiatrists, psychologists are the ones who actually went through pain. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying I do not rate textbook psychiatrists, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to have some type trauma, some type drama to relate to people at a certain level. And
Right.
then
I think
you,
it's that experiential, that experience, like the experience is your truth. So if you've been through it, you know it. Who feels it knows it. It's a simple way of
exactly,
saying it. Who feels
exactly.
it knows it. Yeah.
And like with me, because I've went through so much trauma in my life, it's hard for me to hear people say it's hard. Hear people,
Mm-hmm.
hear people talk about the things they went through when I was younger, actually. But for me, it isn't hard anymore. When I was younger, I should
Mm-hmm.
rephrase that. When I was younger, it was hard for me to relate because, like, I listened to the stories and I'm like, but you didn't go through anything. But that's me
Mm. Yeah, that's
comparing
your
my
you're
personal
comparing.
journey to
Hmm.
your personal journey. And
Right,
like, I had
right.
to step back and recognize what I could handle, you probably can't handle. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I had to take a step back and I had to start personalizing certain things in my life because I recognized that just because I went through it and I survived doesn't mean the next person will,
Right.
and
Definitely.
some people need help on their journey. And
Mm-hmm.
like, that's where people like me and you step into play. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
we
yeah.
tend to help the ones them that doesn't have the mental fortitude to actually get past that hurdle, so to speak.
Right, right, right. We help those that ask for it, that come to us for help, you know? Because really,
Exactly.
as you said, that experiential, you can't, I could learn it. And one of the things we started talking about today is reading it is different than being it, you know? And
Mm.
you could read something, you could know something, but being it is that it just takes it to that whole different level. And once you've actually gone through the experience, it makes, as you pointed out, sometimes it does make you less resonant because you comparing when you're in that comparative mode. But the flip side of that, that when you kind of step out of the comparative mode, it does open you up to understanding and having compassion, you know, and to saying, okay, you know what, it might not be just like how I felt, or it might not be the same situation, but I could remember being feeling similar to how that person felt in my situation. So I get it. I get what they're going through. It's not the same, but in a way, it definitely is the same, you know? So yeah, definitely. But that experience of actually going through painful stuff, it makes you the teacher. You know, it makes you the, because it's the wounded healer, then it's the healed healer, right? Because Chiron
Hmm.
is that wounded healer, but then we as the healer must heal our wounds. So we don't want to stay as a wounded healer. We really want to step into your healership.
And it's so funny how you mentioned the wound healer. How my Chiron is in Taurus. My wound was in values, and I had very questionable values in the past. Like, I don't I don't I haven't had a past life regression, but I have
Mhm.
vivid dreams. And some of the
Mm.
dreams I remembered as a child was me either being a warrior or a gangster. Like,
Mm.
it was funny
That's so
because, huh?
cool. So go ahead. I can let you finish. I'm not interrupting.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm just
So
reacting.
me being a warrior or a gangster. So like that past life energy of that fighting spirit, um, I did things that went against my values. And in this
Mhm.
life, I have to kind of make amends to those
Yeah.
unscrupulous ways of being per se.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
That. Go ahead. No, go
Yeah,
ahead when you finish.
with that realization now, for me, it's hard for me to like do practices that I know goes against what I believe to be right. And like
Mhm.
even
Yeah,
at that, once I'm doing it and I have justifiable my moral reasons for doing it, because like I was told morality, or I've learned in our culture, morality has aesthetics. And an example of that is this. If I kill a butterfly, I'm a cruel, I'm a savage. But if I kill a cockroach, um, I'm a savior, I'm a good guy. But they're both God's creatures.
yeah, yeah,
So the
yeah,
sad part about morality or this life, it really does is based on our aesthetics, what we consider to be appealing and appalling. And like
yeah.
we missed the whole point of it all by looking at life through that lens per se.
Yes, yes. I would say like intent. What comes to mind as you're saying that is intention and sacredness. You said appealing and appalling, you know. What are my intentions? And is this something sacred that am I treating it such as sacred, you know? Um, Definitely what you were speaking about in terms of um oh, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But I'm in agreement with but something that you said was so oh, the warrior and the gangster. Yes. So, and well, you know my chart. I'm getting to know your chart, but because you're speaking, there's so much similarity. My Chiron is in Taurus too. And this must be, and it's there's no coincidence, it's just alignment. And there's no coincidence with our alignment in bringing forward this message together under the Scorpio energy now, as the Taurus Chiron wounded healers shed some of those wounds and step into more of the Scorpion energy, the feathered serpent. And you were talking about the Ouroboros. You see it as the dragon and the snake. You said the dragon eats the tail, or the snake eating itself, the snake eating its tail. So I want to kind of bridge this into uh, the energy of today and merging that also in with this first quarter moon on the galactic calendar because it is red galactic serpent. So let's talk about that energy and that symbolism, and it supports so much of what we are speaking about. But just to jump back into that, it's so interesting that we relate to being that warrior as well as that gangster. As a little girl, I always used to say, I want my husband to be part of the mafia. I don't know why. And The Godfather was like my favorite movie, part three, because I just love that gangster energy, that rebel energy, which is that warrior energy, that person that's willing to fight. But now we must fight the good fight. And I think that's that transition that we go through in life as healers. As we go beyond our wounds and step into our wholeness is that, even though we like going from the gangster to the warrior, like which one would you say is good or bad or, however you want to put that. But in the essence of it, in the duality of it, in the unity of them, they're both fighters. And it's really for each individual to decide what am I going to fight for? And this is just bringing in so many synchronicities right now because as I was watching the election, I noticed that both of the candidates had a moment where they said, fight, right? So it's almost like this call. And when we get this call to fight, are we responding to the warrior? Are we responding to the gangster? Are we responding to and there's the warrior or the soldier, right? So is it the soldier in us? Is it the peaceful warrior? Is it the rebel gangster? Who is it? But there is always this call within us to fight. And when we get there, I think it's really tied in with our nature of survival, which brings us back to the snake. So I'll get into that energy of today, which is the red galactic serpent. All right. So let me just read, and this is directly from the calendar as well, from the galactic calendar. Um, so the red serpent. And again, as we talk about just our ancestors and evolution and how we're looking at things, even our history with the serpent. Whenever I have to talk about the serpent, it always brings me back to Genesis, right? And Adam and Eve in the garden and just that relationship humanity has with the serpent, and how are we looking at that? Do we see the serpent of ourselves, or is the serpent something outside of ourselves that we feel that we need to crush its head and kill it, So again, working with this serpent energy and understanding ourselves with it, uh, I think is a gift that we can give ourselves. All right. So let me read about red serpent. It's about initiation. So let's just look at it like that. We were speaking of initiation. So we are in this as the first quarter moon has its way, we are in this cauldron or this portal of initiation. We are being initiated once again. It's about survival. It's about life force and instincts, right? This is red serpent, survives, life force, and instinct. There's a quote. It says, I have learned that the body listens to rhythms. The mind can't even hear. And that's by John Lee. Red serpent represents our primal nature, our instinctual body wisdom, our sensuality, creativity, and passion. And we've been talking about passions a lot. Serpent reminds us to center in our earthly vehicles, honoring them as incredible, sensual mechanisms, recognizing that our bodies offer us infinite opportunity for experience. There are our living temples, our one and only home for this lifetime. As our partners in life, our bodily vessels invite us to nourish ourselves, to ground, to breathe, to stretch, to move, to dance, to feel, to discover, to physically express, and above all, to sense, to be creatures, not intellect. That's today. Follow the body. It has a language all of its own, intimately connected to our soul. Our serpent bodies and its senses are gateways to that which lies beyond the body, offering themselves as a conduit to access this greater wholeness. As a tool and guide, our bodies are our allies in self intimacy, renewal, and empowerment. Life force is our vitality. Every moment, the decisions, and we're at first quarter moon, so it's about taking actions and our decisions and our choices, right? So one of the most powerful sources of force, sorry, life force is our vitality. Every moment, the decisions we make impact our store of life force. So it impacts our decisions, impact our vitality. And that's been trending in the Bahamas, right? Your choices, right? It is ours to cultivate and care for. One of the most powerful sources of life force we all possess is our sexual energy. Literally, our sacred creative energy, known as our Kundalini, our inner serpent, that fire that ignites our divine potential residing within. The serpent reminds us to merge our primal life force energy with our higher visionary ego mind to become balanced and fully alive. As a feathered serpent, this allows us to bring holistic insight into matters of survival and creation, assuring we see what's near and far. So, again, that whole totality of the serpent, seeing what's near, seeing what's far, being grounded to the earth and feeling the earth and having that relationship with the earth, but also having that wisdom of self and being connected to our inner fire and that inner Kundalini spirit. So that's the red serpent. Uh, and then I wanted to talk about the um the castle of burning that we're in, as well as um the season of enlightenment, because we're in that too. But I think we might have to make this a part one and part two, because I think it's about that time where I might have to go and pick up my dad from the airport that just came in and he was just calling. So do you wanna, we could make this into a two-parter. Do you wanna, because I think we started at around 2:48 and it's now 3:46, so it's about an hour. And we could make this into part one. Do you wanna, and then we'll carry on. If you're free tomorrow, we could continue. You wanna wrap up with something just so that we could make this into a nice 1 hour?
Okay. Um, Let me look at it. I will speak on the sun sign in Scorpio.
Okay. All right. Give them a little something with that, and then I'll wrap it up with something, and then we'll start part two with whatever we want to start part two with. All right, go ahead.
Okay, with Scorpio being 17 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
the Sabian symbol for that is a big bear sitting down and waving all its paws. So my take with that Sabian symbol and it being in Scorpio, hold on, I
You
think I
said
read the wrong.
a big bear sitting down, raising all its paws.
Yeah, I think I
Uh,
read the wrong Sabian symbol.
Okay, okay, but that's interesting. That got my mind like,
That's, that's the moon Sabian symbol.
Okay,
The
okay.
moon was 23, 25 degrees Aquarius. That was that Sabian symbol. The Sabian
And
symbol.
maybe next month we can talk about the Sabian symbols, because I have a curiosity with that. We must follow our curiosities. I think that's always interesting to kind of understand those symbols. So maybe that's something that we could talk about next time.
Okay, the Sabian symbol for Scorpio is 18 degrees, and it says a path through woods rich in autumn coloring. So when it comes to Sabian,
A path rich in autumn colors.
yes.
That's interesting.
So
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, it just shows about the transitioning of death
Mm-hmm.
and rebirth, so to speak. But we're going through the period of death because autumn brings in death. One second.
Mm-hmm. Well, what comes to mind is again the Scorpio energy was the season of rebirth, right? Um,
Mhm.
rebirthing ourselves and coming into the new form, as well as I might be able to just talk about it briefly. The castle of burning. We're in the castle of burning, and really the castle of burning is burning our visions, because the blue is always about our visions, right? And the eagle, that again, the snake and the eagle, the scorpion, the snake and the eagle, right? So burning our old vision, right? And
Mhm.
allowing ourselves to allow these things to burn and to shed the visions, right? So that we can step into the higher vision. And then the enlightenment, the season of enlightenment. And I love how the galactic calendar actually puts the word season with guardian. I just love that. And you could really look at a season as a guardian. Even with the Kamet calendar, we're in the season of Heteru, in the season of Hathor. So when we're in these seasons, and what does that Hathor Heteru energy mean? When we're in that season, we can feel like, okay, this is my guardian. We all have godmothers and godfathers and angels and guardians looking above us, or looking, protecting us, right? So if we are in
Mhm.
alignment with nature, if we are in alignment with the season, then the season is really that which will guard us and be a guardian for us, but to be in alignment with the season, to know what the Scorpio energy is, to know what the Hathor energy is, to be in alignment with the nature and the cosmos is the guardian, so we can connect and align ourselves with these energies to be in the season, and to even again what we were talking about in the beginning about knowing yourself, so that as we go through this first quarter moon, how that's going to impact your Taurus, and how that's going to impact your Scorpio, and how's that going to impact your Aries and your Capricorn. Um, so the enlightenment part of it, the season of, it's called the yellow, the yellow, was it the yellow? We have the red serpent, that's today's energy. But one of the seasons that I wanted to talk about was because it started on the 4th of November, which was such a dynamic day. And that was the yellow southern sun. And it's a season of enlightenment. And what I wrote about, I just read a note, is about having the instinct of the serpent combined with the vision of the eagle. And I think really that's where we are, to hold the instinct of a serpent, but to hold the vision, the high visions of the eagle. And we can all kind of like come into harmony with that. The code for today, or the mantra for today, is I harmonize. We were talking about harmony. I harmonize in order to survive, modeling instinct. I seal the store of life force with the galactic tone of integrity. And that has been a huge, huge subject, really, that started last year, or theme that started last year. And it's going straight on. So I think this whole theme of integrity and standard of having integrity, and what that is for you, what that is for me, how does that play out in the collective, is so, so, so important. And really, that's kind of like almost what we're spilling out of, is lack of integrity in so many different circles and within our own selves. And really asking ourselves to raise that bar in terms of integrity for ourselves, as well as for the collective, as well as for individuals and communities. So maybe we leave it with that. Did you find what you were trying to find? I was trying to talk as you were looking. You good?
And I was coughing because I was choking.
Okay, okay. Do you want to say something?
Huh? No,
Did you
you pretty
want
much covered. You pretty much covered
Okay.
up everything. So I'll get some more material for us tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So we'll wrap it up here. This is part one. And so we'll probably post this and do it with the first quarter moon. And then we'll come together and we'll do something again, and like gear it toward 1111, because that is also We can discuss more of the stuff that we wanted to share with you guys and girls. The 11/11 portal that is on Monday, and we can kind of merge all of this together. And when we rise on Monday morning, Tuesday morning, we are clear about how we are moving forward and what action steps keep us in harmony and what action steps that we might need to take that or that we have taken that are actually causing more and more disharmony for ourselves. My name is Akita Carrie Aurora. This is part one of November's Cosmic Gems podcast. I guess that's what it is now, now that I have a guest with me. And thank you so much, Eli, for joining us this month. We will give them more in part two. All right. Want to say a goodbye?
All right, folks, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on your show, and I hope to come back.
We'll be back. We'll be back. All right. Thank you, Eli.
All right, bye bye.
See you soon.
All right.